Lions and lionesses. In this audio, I want to share with you a few things, a few strategies that I've learned over the last couple decades of how to get the most out of your training sessions. And these are things that may sound simple, but they are the difference between people that live it, that get the results, and keep improving. And don't take these lightly, because this has taken a long time to understand these distinctions. But the first thing is I want to dispel a myth that I used to fall for, that I used to believe. And in 1999, me and a friend of mine, Brad Schoenfeld, were at a fitness conference. We're young dudes, and we're like, hey man, what's going on? What do you think of this? We're talking about our workout programs and all this stuff. And what we found was, like he said, I'm going to test all of these ideas at some point. I'm gonna get my PhD and do research. And he did it. And so the study we're going to talk to today about today is just that. So it's from his lab in New York. So what it is a lot of people, this was in muscle magazines all the time. So the myth was this, that if you woke up and trained without eating breakfast, if you exercised, like did cardio specifically, you would burn more stored body fat for fuel. And everyone just kind of said, yeah, that's what you got to do if you want to lose fat. And that went on forever. And so was it really better than eating first and training? Well, in the human body, what matters is the cycles. And there are different cycles. The most common cycle is the day cycle. Day comes up, then night comes. And our body keeps track of these things. And when we do your lab work, you'll spit in that tube 4 times a day, right? And that's measuring that cycle called the circadian rhythm. We're measuring cortisol and other hormones in the body, which is a natural rhythm to the body. So what did the study say? So to determine the efficacy of fasted cardio as a fat loss strategy, Brad Schoenfeld's lab, carried out a controlled study that randomized a cohort of young women to perform cardio 3 days a week in either a fed or a fasted state. For each workout, both groups came to the lab in the morning without eating. The fed group then received the shake before cardio, containing carbs and protein, and then they performed 60 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise on a treadmill, while the fasted group consumed the same shake, but after the workout. After 4 weeks, results showed similar reductions in body fat between groups, almost identical actually, indicating no benefit to performing cardio on an empty stomach. Now, does that mean, because humans are extreme, by example, does that mean fasted cardio is bad for you or fasted cardio is good for you? No, it means that what really matters is the day cycle, what you do in a 24-hour period. So if you've had fasted cardio and then you did cardio and then you ate a whole pizza afterwards and you ate more calories than your body needed in that 24-hour period, by the time you woke up and went to sleep, that your body must do something with extra calories. They cannot just vaporize. Where do they go? They either store it as fat, or if you lifted weights, you could build muscle with it, right? And so, and then some people, or very few people, have insane metabolism, and you would know these people because they can't gain weight, right? And there's not that many of them, but people always hear this story when I bring this up. Like, I have a friend that eats whatever they want. I promise you, if I went around and measured everything they ate, that this would be true, because it's always true. What usually happens when someone can't gain weight is they eat a whole bunch of food for a day or two. They feel stuffed. They don't have the digestive capacity to eat more than their body needs. And then they eat very little for a few days. And so if you take the week worth, like a whole week, 7 days of it, or a month worth of what the actual amount of food they ate on average per day was, that will tell you what you need to know. So that is the first law of thermodynamics. And so it really matters what you do throughout the day. I hope that makes sense. But let's go into another thing here. And what makes sense is you want to win the day, right? You wake up, you put yourself in state, you train, maybe you eat before, maybe you eat after, you eat about the same times each day, really important. But when you work out, what are the things that make a big difference? I'm gonna give you just a handful. The first one, and I taught this at these principles anytime someone comes to my training center, my warehouse, I teach these, because these are things you have to do a million times. Like the Bruce Lee quote said, right? What is mastery? And I probably told you this a million times already, but someone asked Bruce Lee back in the day if he was afraid to fight this guy because he knew a whole bunch of different kicks. And Bruce Lee said, in a quote, he basically defined what self-mastery is. And he says, I do not fear the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. And really, that is success. How do you become successful at something? Do you do a million different things? It may feel like it, but no. Really, it comes down to a handful of things you do millions of times over a course of a career, over a course of a day. Like, think about the people you care about. How many times do you express how you care about them, how you enjoy them, how you appreciate them? If you do that a lot, I can promise you have good relationships, because that's a trait. That's something that's important, right? People want to feel honored. People want to feel respected, and they deserve that, as do you. And so the first number one thing here when it comes to training that you have to know, and it's a belief, is that you are 100% responsible for your results. Now, that may sound weird. What does that mean? Well, when someone fails at something, they kind of leave an out. And I used to do this all the time with things. And I would blame something. I would blame someone. I'd blame the program. I'd blame the person that taught it to me. I would blame these things. And this is when I was younger, obviously. I've outgrown this. Most people never outgrow it, though. And so where this comes from is I make every number, everything on a program I make is well thought out. And there's reasons and purposes behind everything. There's no number on there. There's no exercise on it that doesn't have a purpose. You can go through and ask me anything, and I'll explain the whole philosophy of it and how it all fits together. And so I take a lot of pride in making these things, because this will impact people's lives and all the people they care about them. So this is not something I take lightly. But when you don't know the reason behind something, it just seems like some stuff on a phone, right? Or on paper. And so this is what bothered me, because I used to make these incredible programs. I still make incredible programs, but I figured out the psychology of this better now. And people wouldn't do them. They'd pay me all this money. It was crazy to me. And I just want results so bad. And so if someone doesn't put in the work, what do I mean by that? You can do the workouts, but if the whole time you're pissing around and you're not challenging yourself, nothing will happen. You can have the most perfect workout in the world. If there is such a thing, there is no such thing, because your body adapts to anything, any type of stress. And so if you eat terrible with it, you don't eat enough food, or eat too much food, or you don't get enough protein or something like that, you won't see much results. You'll be fitter, you'll have better endurance and strength, but you won't get the after picture if that's what you're going after. And you don't have to. You may be happy where you're at, and that's awesome. That's my goal with everybody. So you are 100% responsible for results, because the principle that overrides everything is challenge creates change, and no one can do it for you. No one's can get you in shape. Only you can get in shape. I put in the time to learn all this, to create the plans, an effective plan. That's what people need, but then they need the mindset to carry it through. So rule number one, you are 100% responsible for your results. Your objective is to challenge your body consistently and relentlessly. Got it? I know you do. Now, what's the second rule? They all fit together perfectly. And the second rule is no whining, no complaining, no weak words, no words that limit you. So your words are basically thoughts that are spoken, right? And so, like I told you before, is your thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings cause you to make decisions. Sometimes their decisions is to not make a decision and just procrastinate. And then all your actions put together is where you're at right now. Like, your body is a reflection of your thoughts. If you think about it, like whenever I think about like my body, I'm like, okay, why, what am I trying to create? What do I want to get out of this thing? And why is it important? And that dialogue, I do it over and over again. And first, I take full responsibility for my body. I own it. It is a great blessing. It works, and I'm very happy everything is attached. So that is pretty cool, right? And then I have an able mind. And so those are two great blessings. And so it's up to me to take care of those things. But no whining, no complaining, no weak words. There's this thing you can do. I learned this from a pastor, actually. He had this bracelet on, like a rubber band. And we were talking, and he's just out of nowhere, he slapped it. He like just pulled it back and slapped the hell out of himself. It was loud too. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing, psycho? He's a friend of mine, so I could say this. Normally you don't talk to pastors that way, apparently. Why was he doing it? He tells me a story. He says, hey, I was listening to a service, and one of the pastors had this 21-day thing where, I think it's 21 days, I might be wrong on that, I don't quite remember, because I was shocked that he was doing this. And anytime they had a weak thought, a limiting thought, or they were criticizing themselves or someone, they would flick that thing as a pattern interrupt, right? There's different ways to interrupt a pattern, change it, but that created a level of awareness. And he found he was doing it a lot, and it got better and better over time. And so that is really important. What you say is what you create. The stories you tell. And so one of the things Andrea and I do is we have meetings, and it's all about how can we raise the conscious level of humanity. Like, that is literally, it sounds big for a fitness dude, right? But health is everything, and thought is everything. You literally, everything that ever existed began as a single thought. And then the more you focused on that thought, the more energy you put into it, the more attention you paid to it, the more it became realer, and you started noticing things more. And as you started noticing these things more, you started noticing opportunities. Or you would have ideas, and then you would take action on those ideas. And then one action leads to another. And then you start to think about it more. And then what happens when your routine gets adjusted? Your routine gets adjusted, and what? You go to an event or something, you come back home, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta catch up, I got all these things to do. And you're not thinking about what you want to create. This is really what limits most of us, right? And so when it comes to working out, you are 100% responsible to challenge yourself, to bring the thunder. And along that, what will throw you off the rails? Whining, complaining, criticizing yourself, criticizing others, criticizing anything, bringing things down. Are you constructive, or are you destructive in your thoughts and your words? So no weak words permitted. Speak only words that build yourself up and build others up, or are the truth. Sometimes the truth tears things down temporarily and makes them stronger. So what's the next thing? And this is the thing that people leave out. It's absolute presence. All stress is created either in the past, when we keep reliving something that we didn't want to live in the first place, and we keep going back there out of fear. We're like, oh, we don't want that to happen. Well, it happened. Let me tell you the story again. And then they tell everyone about this crazy story that happened once, not 100 times. Just okay, everyone has things going on, no big deal. Let's not make it so dramatic, right? And so absolute presence. And so focus on the past. What else isn't helpful? Focusing too much on the future. If you're thinking about everything else you have to do today, when you're working out, what kind of workout are you going to have? A terrible workout. What do you need when you train? Absolute presence. Because right now is the only time where you can do anything. The present moment is the only time that matters. There's the book, The Power of Now, which I just told you the entire book just now. That was it. That was literally it. Like, all stress is created in the future or in the past, but there is no stress here if we're lucky. If you're being attacked by a bear, that's different. That is real stress. That's life or death. But most of the things we experience as stress, as fear, are not actually dangerous to us. But that's up to us in our brain, a part of our brain called the amygdala, to decide what's safe and what's not. So what do you want instead? You want full concentration. And you want to focus on your goal. So no weak words. You're talking about, like, this is what I'm creating. Man, I'm so blessed to have this body. I'm going to crush this. And I'm going to get stronger on each exercise today. Last week, I did 4 rounds and 1 exercise. I'm going to get 4 rounds, 1 exercise, and 1 extra rep. I'm going to improve every time I train. And that's an attitude. What happens when you focus on getting better every morning when you train? It carries over to everything else. Carries over to your business, carries over to relationship, carries over to your finances, carries over to everything. It's an attitude. It's a way of being. It's really important. So what do you want to do? When you train, you shut it all down. Nothing else matters. If you're having a problem with your phone, like what I do is I write out my workout on a piece of paper if I'm in a hotel, or I'll write it on a whiteboard if I'm at home. And I do it the night before, and I review it, and I just take a minute, like literally, and just think about how great it's going to be. I can't wait to train in the morning. And what does that do for me when I wake up? Because I wake up and it's a new day, and I could easily think like, oh, I got so much to do. Instead, I get present and I get focused on what I want to do. And this is what the people that are successful in this do. So it's a moving meditation. Like, I don't listen to music. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't listen to anything when I train, because it is fun for me. And I've trained myself to make it fun. It used to suck for me. I used to not enjoy working out at all, and because it was my job. And there was a point where I realized I need a greater purpose. And the greater purpose was, I'm going to be my best. There's a part of me that is pretty badass. There's another part of me that is not. That is where the lion and the lamb comes from. And we all have this. We have an ego, which is the personality we developed when we were children. We couldn't take care of ourselves. And that helped us then. It was really useful to have an ego. But there's a point where we hopefully became adults. And as a result of that, what did we need to do? Well, we needed to learn to live as our true self. We needed to learn how to take care of ourselves. And so when we had this time of understanding this, if you don't train it, you never outgrow it. So most people live in their ego. I mean, like 99.9% of the world, I would say, lives in their ego, and they're unaware of it, so they're completely innocent, right? But we are different, right? We have decided to live our lives on a higher level. And so you are going to have absolute presence when you train. It's a moving meditation. Maybe you're not at the level yet where you can't listen to anything, but that's where you want to shoot. Mastery is to know that you have everything you need within you now, and that you don't need anything external. So you don't need to have certain equipment. Like we have like a handful of things, right? Just because it's so easy to travel and make sure we work all the muscles in the body. But you could get in shape with no equipment at all. It'd be difficult for some muscles, but it's not necessary. I owned gyms my entire life, pretty much. And so I had beliefs like I need a whole gym full of stuff. I didn't even use like 10% of things. I used the dumbbells. I used a handful of machines, but in my mind, I needed the whole gym. Like I have to work out. I need to go to this place where other people are doing similar things. And there's a lot of stuff to use. And I will drive there and take 20 minutes. And then I'll take another 10 minutes getting set up and waiting for equipment, maybe another 10 minutes. And then I'll drive back. I'll probably, I'll probably stop somewhere on the way back. So 2 hours later, I got my workout in. So it's not real efficient for people that want to be productive, right? So moving meditation, absolute presence, no whining, complaining, no weak words. What you speak, you create, and you are 100% responsible for your results. And if you take that belief with you, then you probably already have this belief, then challenge creates change, and you got this. So what's next? This is a tough one because it's hard to do for most people, and it's total body muscular contraction. Command and demand, I call it. If you do this, you do not need any weights. Trust me, I got obliterated doing this several times because I thought it was horseshit. I actually learned this from Arnold Schwarzenegger, of all people. And when he explained it to me, he had all these training partners that wouldn't really, they were in good shape, but they're not like him. Like they did the same exact workout. They all ate together too. They had the same, but Arnold was busier. Like he went to college at night. He had acting school during the day, and he had a masonry company. Like they'd make brick walls. There's still walls in California that were made by him and his buddy Franco Colombo. And so it's pretty awesome just to have this information. But it's when you flex, you don't let the weight do the work, you do the work. So when you say you're doing band bicep curls, you crush the grip, you grab the floor with your feet like you're monkey climbing a tree, you crush your muscles in your legs like you're contracting everything, you contract your stomach, you contract your arms, you contract everything but your face, you put a smile on your face and like, all right, let me set my goal here. I'm gonna do 20 of these things. And I'm going to do them great. I'm going to command and demand all my muscles to work. I will not waste a rep. I will savor every rep like it was the last bite of the most delicious dessert I ever had in my life. And I was being sent to prison for eternity. That's pretty dramatic. So this is the thing you got to experience. So for those coming to the event, I'm going to teach this some more. And so you really get this. But if you do this, you have to be present. You cannot be focused on the future. You cannot be focused on the past. You have to be there. That's why these other ones are so important. So command and demand. Make your muscles work. If you ever do a workout and you're like, that was easy, you failed. Because who's responsible for your results? You're responsible for results. Because challenge creates change. And you were there to work. You're not just showing up to exercise to just say you did it. You're doing it to be your best. Tap into your best self. To connect to your best self so you can be yourself for your life, have no regrets, and for everyone that comes in contact with you. That is the greater purpose. And then you want to have a bigger vision later on, your long-term vision, your 120-year-old version of yourself, or whatever you want, however long you want to live. But you need a compelling future for that. That's really important. Okay, so real quick, fasted cardio, not necessary. But if it works for you, you feel good on it, then by all means. If you have good workouts in it, if you're forcing yourself to eat and you're being really, and it's making you tired of having great workouts, try not eating before and eat afterwards, right? And rule number 1, you are 100% responsible for results. Challenge creates change, and it is up to you to bring the thunder. Rule number 2, no whining, no complaining, no weak words allowed. This is a discipline. Discipline equals freedom. And if you can master it during a workout, it's going to carry over in every other of your life. Rule number 3, absolute presence, full concentration. This is a skill that carries over into everything you do. And when do we practice concentration? Well, most of us don't. That is why this is so important. It's a moving meditation. You show up, you don't need anything outside yourself. You just need to know your workout plan and bring it and challenge yourself. And don't get weak with your words. Speak powerfully. And then the last rule, total body muscular contraction, command and demand. That is the key. It's not easy. It takes practice. None of these things are easy, but that's why it's worth it. All right, I'm punching the table at the same time. That's time for me to tap out here. All right, this one went longer, but it's really, really important. This is the thing. It took me 25 years to actually learn and pull out these distinctions and see what the successful people do compared to the people that are just dabbling. All right, my friends, if you have any questions or if you want me to cover any specific topics, please reply back to me in here, and I would be honored to assist. All right. I love you. I appreciate you. You're the best.
You tap into the real you, but you have to retrain yourself. The way you retrain yourself is you wake your ass up in the morning and you say, I am here for a reason and a purpose. And it's bigger than my moods. It's bigger than the difficulties of the day. I am here to live like a lion, not the fear of a lamb.